Now, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has again assured that the National Assembly would ensure traditional rulers play a prominent role in governance starting from 2026. This is part of the ongoing constitutional amendments. He made the statement in Kaduna State where he emphasized that the constitutional amendment would formalize the role of traditional rulers in Nigeria's governance. He expressed his commitment to doing everything within his power to make traditional institutions more relevant and ensure their well-being. This is not the first time Abbas will be given such assurances. He gave a similar one in July 2023 when he was speaking at the palace of the Emir of Zazzau, Nuhu Bamali, during his first visit to Zaria in Kaduna State as Speaker. He repeated same promise in 2024 during the Open Week celebration to mark the first anniversary of the 10th Assembly. Now, will anything materialize this time with this latest promise? Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale now joins us to discuss the assurances by the House of Representatives Speaker Tajuddin Abbas that from next year, traditional rulers will have crucial constitutional role and what type of roles should be given to the monarchs that will be in tandem with constitutional democracy. Good afternoon, and always good to have you join us, Mr. Sobowale.
It's a pleasure to be as usual. Good afternoon.
Let's begin with your thoughts on this call by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. This isn't the first time he will be making this call. It says that the amendment of the 1999 Constitution should make room for constitutional roles for the monarchs. What kind of roles are we talking about, and do you pitch your tent with this call?
Well, he's in a position to implement what he's advocating because he's Speaker. So he should know how to go about it. But you see, the place where he made this call and this promise was at an event in which he donated vehicles for traditional rulers. And in the notice he was given, he was saying that that money comes from small-scale business development fund, and it is in the budget. I want to pick issue with that, one. And then secondly, on the issue of stability, he said there is no stability in Kaduna State. If you still look at the papers today, you will see killings still going on in Kaduna State. 2 points now. And then the third point, on my way here, I read that a mayor in Blanco, Texas, USA, saying that he's taking the former governor to ICC, International Criminal Court, for genocide against farmers in southern Zaria. So let's leave it at that first. Yes. Okay,
well said, Mr. Sobowale.
Yes.
You've already given us a comparative context to look at what's going on in the United States, and we appreciate that as always. But how would traditional authority integrate, in your opinion, with existing governance structures without creating parallel power centers?
Well, we do not have what I would call a constitutional monarchy. We are a republic. So they will always have informal role. They will always have informal role because they will be needed for stability. Like the Kaduna man said, in giving them this cash, even though it's taking funds from another cost center, the hope is that when they have the cash, the terrorists will not steal it from them. Get me? But I will rationalize it by saying that as traditional rulers, they'll be able to move around effortlessly with the new vehicles. But you say, I reiterate, we have discussed it here before. I reiterate again that constitutionally, they do not have a role. But these are people you cannot push aside. And I doubt if the National Assembly can have the consensus to give them a constitutional role. Because there are some areas of the country where they have a role already, but it's an informal, very informal one. At an event during this weekend, I think it was former President Jonathan, he said the Oni of Ife and the Sultan of Sokoto are the two most important leaders in Nigeria that they are always doing 90s. The Oni went to Bayelsa State, and he was telling the members of traditional council there, the Obas there, that they should vote for the government. So you know that is already a rule, even though it is an informal one. But you see, as a federalist and a Republican, I don't see a return to traditionalism. Britain has a constitutional monarchy, but then it knows its own limits. The king rules while the king reigns while the prime minister rules. Any statement issued by the king to parliament is written by the government of the day. So, to me, traditionalism and democracy, they don't go hand in hand. Because to compromise the essence of democracy. Democracy, even though you are not practicing it like that, yeah, should be based on meritocracy. You get me? Who you are and how you get on in life, how you contribute to society should be based on your capability, not your birth. Let's leave it at that for now.
Well, Mr. Sobowale, you know, the Constitution does not even provide any room for, you know, traditional.
They want to
yes, but yes, you have mentioned some of the obstacles that may face this, you know, bill or the amendment of the Constitution to provide a role for these traditional rulers. But aside all of those, you know, obstacles on the way, do you think that there are opportunities that may exist for these traditional rulers to play a more significant role, especially when it comes to modern governance? And how do you think we can leverage on these opportunities?
It depends on the individual monarch and the situation. Okay, I'm Yoruba now. In Yoruba land, you see many of the Obas we have now are people who schooled in the U.S., who are working in the U.S., but then who came back to become traditional rulers. And the reason is very obvious. Nigeria is highly monetized, both politically and traditionally. And you know the rate of the naira to dollar nowadays, somebody brings just even $1 million, it buys up everything, including kingdoms and traditional titles. So that is the situation. So the traditional system itself is being modernized. So I will say modernized, but though some will say it's being gradually destroyed, you get me, by modern developments, both in Nigeria and overseas. During colonialism, the Oyinbos, or the Europeans, the British, they used the monarchs to rule indirectly.
Direct rule.
Indirectly in the north, and directly in the north, and directly in the south. Later, when they merged, in 1914, they merged both together. And that was their own mode of managing us as a colony. But thank God we got our independence. So we should be able to look after ourselves, build better palaces for these of us, give them good vehicles, but democratically, if they want to contest, let them put down their crown and campaign.
What's that, Mr. Sobowale? You're taking me back to my government class in secondary school, your indirect rule. But on a final note, what measurable criteria would determine successful implementation of these constitutional rules if they come into effect?
If they won't come into effect, because of the issues we have put on the ground.
Okay, so nothing to measure.
Yes, let meritocracy be the basis of constitutional rule. And we have not even gotten there because we are still doing, what do you call it now? This discrimination. What do you call it? We are supposed to be practicing unity in diversity, but we have sectoral allocations of certain jobs and positions to certain parts of the country. It should not be. It should not be. Let us have an open field. You are citizens compete equally in a democratic system. That's
open
all.
field. That's what we're accepting by Mr. Dayo Sobowale standards. Mr. Sobowale, we would like to thank you for your time here on Newsday. Thank you for joining us.